Hello and welcome to another edition of Philosophical Yarns. Today we will be talking about the second chapter in the Gita, and the second teaching is about action. Now, the teaching starts out with Arjuna in a state of bewilderment and sorrow, saying, "We do not know which weight is worse to bear, our conquering them or their conquering us." Again, the concept of sacred duty comes into play, and Arjuna must ask himself if his obligation to fight as a warrior trumps his obligations to the blood bonds of his kinsmen. In fact, the question distresses him so much that he tells Krishna, "I shall not fight," and then falls silent. Krishna responds by saying, "You grieve for those beyond grief, and you speak with words of insight, but learned men do not grieve for the dead or the living." He goes on to say, "Never have I not existed, nor you, nor these kings, and never in the future shall we cease to exist. To understand this, you must know about the doctrine of reincarnation, which basically states that spirits of all beings existed at the beginning of time and come down to earth and occupy bodies which are born, age, and die. And when death happens, these spirits are reborn and take on new bodies." This doctrine, which Krishna takes as fact, he says, does not confound a steadfast man. The process of being born, dying, and being born again is called samsara. Yet in Hinduism and Krishna's philosophy, being reborn is not a good thing. The goal of a human life being to free yourself from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, or samsara. And what makes you worthy to be released from the cycle, according to Krishna, is learning that all earthly things are fleeting, and when one does not despise or rejoice in them, then Krishna says that is a man fit for immortality. Krishna goes on to elaborate on the eternal nature of the soul, saying, "Our bodies are known to end, but the embodied self, or how you say the soul, is enduring." Krishna goes back to talk more on the concept of sacred duty, which I said in the last video was the actions we take to maintain order. After reassuring Arjuna about the immortality of the soul, he urges him to fight the battle, saying nothing is better for a warrior than a battle of sacred duty. And he goes on to say, if you fail to wage this war, you will abandon your own duty and fame and gain only evil. He goes on to mention evil 2 more times in the chapter, but let us look at the Hindu concept of evil. Evil, for a believer in the Gita, is not necessarily right or wrong action, but behaving in a way that does not befit your caste, and therefore does not line up with the duty which was determined in that day by your caste or rank in society. Not doing your duty in the Gita has temporal and heavenly consequences. The temporal consequence for Arjuna, fleeing, would be shame, and the heavenly consequence, it's not stated but alluded to, that Arjuna would not win heaven. After this, Krishna explains his philosophy of discipline. Discipline being acting without attachment. Attachment being attraction or displeasure to the results of an action one might take. Saying, wise men discipline by understanding relinquish the fruit born of action, freed from the bonds of rebirth, they reach a place beyond decay. Understanding in this concept means knowing that the physical world is temporary, and acting in your sacred duty makes you fit for immortality. Krishna goes on to say, Krishna goes on to talk about the senses and how if your mind is fixed on sense objects, you are deluded, or worse. He says, quote, brooding about sensuous objects makes attachment to them grow. From attachment, desire arises. From desire, anger is born. From anger comes confusion. From confusion comes memory lapses. From broken memory, understanding is lost. From loss of understanding, he is ruined. Basically, this quote illustrates the slippery slope of desire. And down the road of desire for earthly things, a person is ruined. And to sum it up, in the Gita, one of the ways to find peace is renouncing desire. And that's all we have for today, folks. Have a nice day.